All right, what's going on, everyone? As promised, this is the first of a three-part series I'm going to try to put together here over the next couple of days. Breaking down the first half of the Major League Baseball season. I'll be going night by division. So tonight it's the National League East and the American League East. The unofficial first half has ended. And got to be honest with you, there's a lot of average baseball teams out there this season. Not a whole lot of top echelon, baseball being played. So let's get right into it. We're going to go by standings with the breakdown of the teams. So first off, we're starting the National League East, and with the Atlanta Braves. They finished the first half of the regular season at 55-40. They are 2 games up on the Phillies. I gave them an A for their first half of the season. I mean, I don't think with the injuries and the struggles they have had to be in first place is, I think, the best. I mean, more than they could have asked for. Matt Olson is having another spectacular season. Finished the first half with 25 home runs, 58 RBIs. Ozzie Albies has been solid like he usually is. Drake Baldwin, their young catcher, is having a semi-breakout season. He's only batting 254, but I mean, with the catching today, 254 is actually pretty good for the catcher spot. Austin Riley, though, I mean, the fact that Atlanta's in first place and they have not had Swellenbach, they have not had Spencer Strider for most of the season, and Austin Riley's batting 207 at the break. So I don't expect Austin Riley to keep playing like that. The injuries obviously have become a factor. Ronald Acuna's out again. Martin Perez had been solid for them as a starting pitcher, but now he's on the injured list. Swellenbach supposedly is going to return to Atlanta's facility late July, early August to start on his rehabilitation. They're hoping for an early September possible return for him, but is that, I mean, it's not guaranteed. Spencer Strider was just moved to the 60-day injured list on Wednesday, so is he going to come back in time, for the stretch run? Probably not. I mean, the first half was fantastic for Atlanta. Can they win this division? Obviously, they can. They lead it at the halfway point. I don't think they will, as you'll see with the next team that I break down. Second half expectations for Atlanta. As currently configured, the Atlanta Braves cannot win this division. I know they have a 2-game lead on the Phillies, but with the current roster, the Braves will not hold off the Phillies. It won't happen. So, second half outlooks, I mean, Braves' health. They got to get Strider back, Swellenbach back. They got to get Austin Riley out of this funk that he's in. They got to hope Mauricio Dubon continues to play at the level he's playing. They got to get Acuna back. There's a lot of ifs there. Okay. Now I say as currently configured, the Braves cannot win this division because there have been some talk that Atlanta's going to go big game hunting at the trade deadline. I'm not going to go too much into it in this video. That'll be another video later on. But I mean, Atlanta's going to be in on Scooble, Joe Ryan. They're going to try to be in on Sonny Gray. Atlanta's going to try to fix his pitching rotation at the deadline, from what I'm understanding. The Atlanta Braves bullpen is solid. It usually is. But so overall, I gave them an A for the first half of the season. Now moving on, as I said, to the second place team, the Phillies. I gave the Phillies a B plus for the first half of the season. They finished it at 54-43. They are 2 games behind Atlanta, 2.5 games up, tied with the Cubs in the wild card. The Phillies started off the season 9-19. They were 10 games behind Atlanta when they fired Rob Thompson. Since then, they have gained 8 games on Atlanta. They have been a top 3 team record-wise since the beginning of May. Their offense has been one of the best in baseball since the beginning of May. Zach Wheeler he's going to make a case to try to win the Cy Young. Christopher Sanchez has been up there. He's going to be top 5 in the Cy Young. Jesus Luzardo, the last 3+ months, has been right up there with Sanchez as one of the best pitchers in the game. The Phillies' issue is they have no right fielder at the moment. They're going to have to address that in the second half of the season. They're going to have to figure out the fourth and fifth spots in the rotation. Also, Aaron Nola has been better lately. His last 5 or 6 starts have been much better. He probably has to get to the point where Mattingly trusts him to go past 5 innings. It blew up Friday night when Mattingly took him out for no reason. The fifth spot is a mess. There is no easy fix to that one. I'm not so sure the Phillies are going to be able to go get somebody for that spot because they have other needs. Their bullpen is a mess, the Phillies. What you got Duran, Brad Keller just came back, but aside from Keller and Duran, Boland's been good. Kerkering's up and down. I don't really trust Kerkering in a big spot. I sure as hell don't trust Boland in a big spot. So to find a way to branch from your top guys to Duran, you got to hope Keller becomes back and becomes the guy he was in Chicago. This is a guy who had a sub-2 ERA in Chicago last season. You got to hope he picks that up and becomes that guy again. But the Phillies are going to have to make some moves with the bullpen. They're going to have to go get an outfielder. I'm not sure who that outfielder is going to be. Again, that'll be in another video later on. I'll break down the possibilities. But the Phillies, second half expectations, first and foremost, win this division, which I think they will. Anybody who thinks Atlanta's going to hold them off in the second half, that's just wishful thinking. The big end goal for the Phillies and this team is good enough to win the World Series. And I'll say, currently as configured, they are good enough to play with the Dodgers. When you're going into a playoff series with Zach Wheeler, Sanchez, and Luzardo, and you got Duran at the back end of the bullpen, and you're good enough to win. Right now, the Phillies are the biggest threat to the Dodgers. And I'm not just saying that as a Phillies fan. They are legitimately the biggest threat to the Dodgers in the National League. Now, Bryce Harper's playing at an MVP level. Kyle Schwarber leads the league in home runs. I think Trey Turner's going to come back in the second half and have a huge second half of the season. Question is, can Brandon Marsh keep it up? Marsh being an all-star starter this season. Marsh has had a fantastic first half of the season. Better than most people could have expected. But the outlook, I feel like, is good for this team. I think they are going to come back and overtake Atlanta, possibly by the end of this month, that the Phillies will be back in first place. So we'll wait and see. The third place team in the division is the Marlins. They finished the first half of the season at 52-45. They're 4 games behind Atlanta. They currently hold the final wild card spot in the National League. I gave the Marlins a B+ for the first half of this season. I really like the Marlins. I like what they put together. The Marlins always have good young talent. Aldo Lopez has been a find this season. He has led the league. We've been top 3 in hitting all season. Finished the first half at 334. Xavier Edwards is over 300. There's only a handful of guys in the league who are over 300 batting average, and the Marlins have 2 of them. Liam Hicks has been a RBI machine in the first half. Finished the first half with a 298 batting average, 13 home runs, 58 RBIs. On the pitching side, Max Meyer has been excellent. It's hard to find a guy who's been better in the National League than him. 9-1 with a sub-2 ERA this season. Yuri Perez, his ERA's in the 3s, has a strong arm. Sandy Alcantara is always the question: are the Marlins going to move him or not? I don't think they will. But he's still a solid pitcher right there. The bullpen has been anchored by P. Fairbanks. He's been an excellent closer for them. The Marlins got talent. They always do. They always have young talent. It's just a matter of, as they just got swept by the Guardians this weekend, it's a matter of whether those young players are going to be able to keep it up all season. Second half outlook for them is how much can they possibly add? Can they go make the moves necessary to make them a playoff team? I do not think they are a playoff team. I think getting swept by the Guardians is the first sign to show that this Marlins team just isn't ready yet. It's not there yet. I think when they go up against the better competition in the dog days of August, I think some of these players will come back to earth. But the Marlins are building something. The second half of the season, just continue to grow. Maybe go grab a piece or two at the deadline. Try to make the playoffs. I guess the second half expectation is, look, playoffs or bust for them, maybe. But they're a fringe playoff team. Okay, are they one of the 6 best teams in the National League? No, I don't think so. And I don't think they'll be able to hold on to that last spot. But I like where they're going. I like what they have. Um, their minor league system is very well stacked, like it usually is. The Marlins have talent. If they want to spend the money and keep these guys, the Marlins could be a good team. All right. Next on the list is the fourth place team is the Washington Nationals. I gave them an A for their first half of the season, and yeah, I'm giving the team who's in fourth place an A because what currently configured that roster, the fact that the Nationals have played as competitive as they have in the first half of the season is pretty fantastic. I mean, they finished at 48 and 49. They're 8 games behind Atlanta, 4 games out of the last wild card spot. Foster Griffin has been a find for them, and for those of you who don't know, look him up. The kid has been legit. He finished the first half of the season 10-2 with a 2.77 ERA, but he had 10 quality starts. Cade Cavalli finishes the first half with a 3.83 ERA, but he also 8 quality starts. So when you're getting good, quality starts, what are we saying here? I mean, guys are able to keep their players in the game, keep the team in the game, and the Nationals offense has been good enough to come back in a lot of those games. The Nationals' big problem this season has been their bullpen. I mean, they've blown 12, 13 games. They just blew 3 games this weekend to the Yankees, all in the 8th inning. So conceivably, the Nationals could have swept the Yankees had their bullpen just been better. James Wood and C.J. Abrams are obviously cornerstone pieces you can build around. Both having monster first half seasons. Dylan Lyle I like a lot. Curtis Mead seems to have found his place in Washington. A guy who's moved around to a few teams has seemed to found his footing in Washington. Had a very good first half. Unfortunately, the other pieces around the pitching staff have not, come around. Jake Irvin has been hurt and inconsistent, so he did not take the next step like they thought he would. Miles Michaelis just stinks at this point. There's not much left in the tank for him. And like as I've covered already, the Nationals bullpen has been horrendous. So what do we talk about in the second half of the season for them? What's the outlook? The Nationals are a fringe 500 baseball team. They're not going to make the playoffs. Coming into the season, I projected they would be better than people thought. I'm damn proud of that prediction because I believe they have been way better than people think. But the second half of the season is basically going to be, the continued growth of these young players. C.J. Abrams and James Wood to continue to grow. Dylan Lyle getting much needed playing time at the major league level. Foster Griffin, how many innings are you going to let him go? Is he going to be on an innings limit? You're going to cut him down at some point. Cavalli, can he take the next step in the second half and just continue to improve? I don't think they're going to make many moves at the deadline. They're not going to sell. There's certainly, if they buy, it's just going to be a bullpen piece here and there just to try to shore up the second half of the season. But I love what the Nationals are doing. Their farm system has talent. In the offseason, they have pieces to move if they want to go get bigger names. I just don't think they're going to do that right now. But I do think the Nationals are going on the way up. Again, I just love what they're doing. Okay, now, with my predictions tonight, I only gave out one F. And if I could give them a lower grade than an F, I would have the New York Mets. 40 and 57. They finished the first half, 16 games out of first place, 12 games out of a wild card spot. The Mets are a handful of games off the worst record in baseball. There has not, I do not remember a bigger disaster of a first half team in the history of baseball, honestly. The amount of money that has been put into this team to be 16 games out and 17 games under 500 at the end of the first half. Juan Soto is having a Juan Soto season, batting .290, 21 home runs, but only 51 RBIs. Does anybody get on base for the Mets? Anybody? Bo Bichette, $42 million going into this season. Finished for first half of the regular season at 255. Only 10 home runs, though. He was much better in June, though I'll give him that. He was a sub-300 hitter in June. Looked like he sort of got comfortable, playing out there. It's going to be hard to find positives, for me to spin for the Mets here. Carson Binge, I think, has been one of those positives. A young rookie outfielder they brought up. He finished the first half at 263, 11 home runs, 37 RBIs. Okay, second half of the season. What can we talk about with the Mets? Let's be honest here. Sell. That's pretty much what the second half is here. Freddie Peralta, I think, is going to get moved. The Mets are going to move him for what they can get. Bo Bichette, I believe, could be moved if he makes it known that he's going to opt out of his contract, which I believe he will at the end of the regular season. The Mets probably are going to look to move him and probably could get a decent amount. Devin Williams is going to be traded. The Mets, you don't need a closer when you're 17 games back. So Devin Williams will be moved. Sean Manaea might be moved, depending on who wants a fringe third or fourth or maybe slash bullpen arm. Nolan McLean is a guy who could take the next step in the second half. He's a guy that they might be able to build around. The kid who pitched today, Zach Thornton, I like him a lot. Young left-hander. But other than that, I mean, the Mets are going to sell. I mean, they're going to sell and then try to retool in the offseason, and because that's what this owner does. He's not going to sit back and just pay these guys for nothing. He's going to move them and then go find some more. So I think that's what the Mets are going to do in the second half. It's just going to be about selling, and see what they can get, and in the offseason try to retool and come back at it. So that was the National League East. Moving on to the American League East, we're going to start off with the first place Tampa Bay Rays. I gave them an A. Tampa Bay finished the first half at 56-38. They are 2 games up on the Yankees. 3 games up on the Yankees. And look, it's hard to find a better run organization in baseball than Tampa Bay. The old saying is, if Tampa Bay wants a guy from you, don't trade him there because you're wrong. And Tampa Bay usually doesn't miss when they want guys. Junior Caminero, I mean, if it wasn't for a guy named Yordan Alvarez, Caminero would be the first half MVP. 279, 28 home runs, 59 RBIs. Yandy Diaz is one of the best leadoff hitters in the game. He finished the first half at 322. Jonathan Aranda finished at 297 with 14 home runs and 64 RBIs. Chandler Simpson had 22 stolen bases. I mean, Tampa Bay does everything right. They have the lowest swing and miss percentage in the league. They have the lowest walk percentage by pitchers in the league. They put the ball in play. They don't make errors. They don't beat themselves. They don't walk guys. They do all of the little things that you need to do to win. Nick Martinez, I do think, is going to take a step back in the second half, but he had a fantastic first half for him with a 2.83 ERA. Griffin Jax has been a find for them. Since they moved him to the starter's role, Griffin Jax has been one of the best pitchers in the American League. Their Tampa Bay's bullpen is good. It's always good. So second half outlook for Tampa Bay. Look, Tampa Bay could win the American League. Okay? Like, it's hard for me to find a team in the American League right now who is better than them. And right now, if I had to pick a team to go to the World Series, it'd be Tampa Bay. Because what I just said. Okay? Pitching and defense win in the playoffs. Doing the little things win in the playoffs. Tampa Bay does all those things correctly. They don't beat themselves. So yes, I think that is the second half goal for them, is to try to win this whole thing. Like Tampa Bay, I have a feeling at the deadline is going to go out and do something they normally don't do and try to make big moves. I think they're going to be in on Joe Ryan. I think they're going to try to be in on Skubal if Detroit sells. I think they're really going to go out and try to win this thing because the American League is so subpar this season. It is really anybody's game. Now, in the National League, it's a handful of teams. It's the Phillies, the Dodgers, Milwaukee. Depending on the trade deadline, maybe Atlanta can sneak back in there or the Cubs or somebody like that. But realistically, Phillies, Dodgers, and Milwaukee or in the National League. In the American League, it could be anybody. So Tampa Bay is, I think, best suited right now to win the American League. Moving on to the second place team, the New York Yankees, I gave them a B for the first half. They finished at 54-42, 2 games back. They do lead in the wild card, but the Yankees are going to make the playoffs, I believe. But the question is, Ben Rice is a star. He finished 279 with 29 home runs and 68 RBIs. Cam Schittler is legit ace. But with Aaron Judge not in this lineup, the Yankees are just not the same team. And the question is going to be in the second half of the season, when are they going to get Aaron Judge back? Because the entire lineup revolves around him. So the Yankees have definitely taken a step back in the last few weeks since Judge went out. Garrett Cole has not completely recovered yet from his arm injury. He's back, but he's not at full strength yet, and you can see it in his outings. Carlos Rodon is injured again. The Yankees bullpen, I mean, they're going to have to make a move in the bullpen at the deadline. I mean, Duvall, Sketchy is putting it nicely when he comes into the game. David Bednar is not a lockdown closer, so I would be shocked if the Yankees didn't add 2 or 3 bullpen arms like they usually do. They're definitely going to go try and get a closer. But again, we'll talk about that in the trade deadline video. But for now, I give them a B for their first half. I mean, they survived some injuries and are in second place. They're within 2 games of Tampa. I don't think they'll catch them. I think the Rays win this division, but the Yankees are right there, and they're going to be a playoff team. They're one of the 6 best teams in the American League. Moving on to the third place team, and the Boston Red Sox. They were a team that I picked to go to the World Series in spring training. I was very high on the Red Sox. I really liked their moves. Injuries have been atrocious for the Red Sox. Injuries have killed them. Roman Anthony, Garrett Crochet, Trevor Story. Now Ranger Suarez is on the injury list again. Injuries have definitely killed this team. Jarren Duran has struggled in the first half with a 197 batting average. But the Red Sox finished the first half as the hottest team in baseball. They were 46 and 48 at the end of the first half. They're 10 games behind Tampa, so they're not catching Tampa, but they were only a half game out of a playoff spot. Now, in that market in Boston, the Red Sox are going to buy. I foresee them going out and making several moves. But realistically, they got to get healthy. I mean, if the Red Sox get healthy with the way they're configured, they're making the playoffs. And they have the starting pitching to make a run. I mean, Sonny Gray was 11-1 in the first half of the season with a sub-2 ERA. Ranger Suarez had a 3.15 ERA when he got hurt. But Garrett Crochet, we know, is the ace that brings all that together. Their bullpen, they have Aroldis Chapman and Garrett Whitlock, 2 guys who can pitch in the 9th inning for any team. So the back end of their bullpen is set. Wilson Contreras has been their best offensive player. But again, they got to get Roman Anthony back. You got to get Trevor Story back. And that could bookend that lineup and bring it all together. Second half outlook, I believe the Red Sox make the playoffs. I believe that's the goal in the second half, obviously. I do believe they're going to end up getting one of the wild card spots. If they get healthy, they could make a run, and my World Series prediction could come true. But as configured right now, I do believe the Red Sox make the playoffs, and that is my second half outlook for them. Moving on to the third place team, the Baltimore Orioles. I gave Baltimore a D for the first half, and what exactly happened to Baltimore? I mean, what? 2023, the Baltimore Orioles were 101-61. They won the American League East. 2024, they were 91-71. They are a wild card team. But since then, they have gone down and down and down. Like, what happened to the talent on this team? I mean, a couple of years ago when Gunnar Henderson, Adley Rutschman, and Jackson Holliday, and Grayson Rodriguez was a young up-and-coming pitcher, like, they had the tools to build around. Like, what happened? Like, I don't understand how this team fell so far down. And, like, what do they do? Like, I mean, second half outlooks for this team. What exactly is there? I mean, Tyler Ward right now leads their team in batting average at 255. Now, granted, I get it. Batting average today is not the same like it was before, but 255 leads your team? I mean, like, that. Where did the offense go with this baseball team? And there's not much help on the farm system coming up, like, right away either. So Baltimore, I mean, they are going to sell at the trade deadline. Kyle Bradish is the name, to watch out for. Right now, Baltimore sits at 46-51, 11 games behind Tampa. And, I mean, they're not much close. I mean, they're technically in the wild card race, but are they really? I mean, they're not. So, I mean, Kyle Bradish, again, like I said, is the name you can watch. Tyler Ward is going to be moved. It's actually a name that's come up, here in Philadelphia quite a bit. He's going to get moved. They just signed Pete Alonso to that big contract, and I mean, for what? I don't understand. So the Nationals do have some pieces to move. I mean, the Orioles do have some pieces to move, and I think they're going to have to do that. They're going to have to. I don't say rebuild, but technically the rebuild never finished. So it's like, I guess, try to retool. I mean, because you're not going to trade Henderson, you're not going to trade Rushman. So I mean, try to build around those pieces, but it's not looking very positive in Baltimore right now. The last team we're going to talk about in this video is the Toronto Blue Jays, and I gave them a C for their first half. They finished the first half at 45-51. They're 12 games out of first place. Look, Ernie Clement is legit. 296 batting average in the first half. Look, the Blue Jays were never as good as that World Series team was a year ago, and I said when they lost that World Series that it's really sad because I did not foresee them going back. And for them to have blown a lead in the ninth inning of Game 7 of that World Series, I felt like it was a giant missed opportunity for that organization. Look, they just don't have any pitching. I mean, that's realistically what this comes down to. I mean, Kevin Gausman is their ace, realistically, and he's average at best at this point in his career. Your Savage is a young pitcher who just came up last season. He's been up and down this season, had some injuries. Dylan Cease is a guy that they got in the offseason. He's going to start the All-Star game. But outside of him and Gausman, I mean, the Blue Jays just don't have much there right now. Their offense, Vladimir Guerrero Jr., for some reason, has lost the ability to hit home runs. Only 6 in the first half. Look, the Blue Jays have some good young players. But the talent that is there just needs to produce. And their second half outlook, I mean, they're not making the playoffs. Okay, let's be honest, they're not. I guess it's just the continued growth of your Savage, Ernie Clement, guys like that, because the Blue Jays, they caught lightning in the bottle last season and could not capitalize on it. And unfortunately, now they've come back to who they're supposed to be. So, I mean, I don't foresee them buying at the deadline. I do see there's a few pieces that they could possibly sell off. I think the Blue Jays are mostly going to stay pat at the deadline. And, I mean, are they one of the 6 best teams in the American League? I don't think so. There's so many teams though right now who think they can make a run. I believe the Blue Jays are going to think they can make a run, but I think they're going to be at that point where they're not really going to sell any pieces, like any minor league pieces, to go try to build on this team. I think they're going to, just write this up as, a mulligan kind of year and try to retool in the offseason and try to get some of these guys back to where they're supposed to be. But again, they were never as good as that World Series team was a year ago. And we see that a lot, in sports where a team just gets hot at the right time. And unfortunately, the Blue Jays couldn't finish it off. All right, that's it for this video. Longest one I've done. So, I'm still getting used to all this. But I think the American League East is going to be very interesting in the second half. The National League East, I think we could end up with just one playoff team. I mean, is Atlanta one of the 6 best teams in the National League? Absolutely. But if the injuries keep stacking up, could I see Atlanta fall out of this and not make the playoffs? Absolutely, I could. The Marlins aren't going to make the playoffs. So, yeah, I can see the National League East with just one team in the playoffs. But the American League East, I can see 3. And at the beginning of the season, I had 3 in my predictions in the American League East. I do think the Red Sox are going to make it, the Yankees are going to make it, and the Rays are going to win that division. And if I had to make a prediction right now, I think the Rays win the American League. All right, tomorrow night's video will be the National League Central and American League Central. So take care, subscribe.